Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day, and above all else, that you are looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into the topic of another fantastic episode of the Music Den, I would like to welcome back to the channel. Yes, we're going to raise the roof, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome back to the channel the one and only Jim Bricker. How's it going, Jim?
I'm doing very well, Armando. Happy to be back with you.
Be that you're here. It's only been what, 24 hours since we
It's been less.
well, 12, I should, not even that. So yeah, it's been a short time. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, we tape a lot of shows together, Jim and I.
We
Um,
do, and the funny thing is that this episode is going to air before the one that we taped earlier. So there's all kinds of time travel going on too that you
there
guys
you
get the
go, there
benefit
you go.
of.
We're here, we're there, we're everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, back and forth. It's all a rich tapestry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with an episode that we're calling Now Hear This. We have put together a list of 6 albums across, I would say, an eclectic group in terms of listed genres that we basically wanted to bring to your attention and we thought deserved some discussion. Okay.
Yeah, and these are like new albums. All of these dropped in January 2025. So
Yes, hot off the
these
presses.
these are
Yes.
fresh biscuits.
Yes, yes, don't burn yourself. They're that hot. All right. The first one that we're going to discuss is from the band Tremonti, fronted by one Mark Tremonti. Mark Tremonti has been in the music scene since I would say around the early to mid 90s. Mark Tremonti, fantastic guitarist, member of the band Creed in the 90s. Had gone on once Creed broke up, he formed the group Alter Bridge, and then the band Tremonti, which he fronts. Now, the album we're going to talk about is their latest release, their sixth release called The End Will Show Us How. It was just a bit of background. This is a follow-up to their 2021 album Marching in Time, released through Napalm Records. The album was released on January 10th, 2025. So again, hot off the presses. The album was produced by Michael Elvis Basquet. Uh, there have been 3 singles released from the album. The title track, Just Too Much, and The Mother, the Earth, and I, which is the track that leads off the album. And the album has a playing time of 56 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, in terms of this album, I should say, sorry, one coffee today, guys, and I'm still a little screwed up, so forgive me. It is a Saturday. Um, Jim was the one that brought this album to my attention, and I've heard of Tremonti in the past. I've never really delved into their music. And I should also say about Tremonti, previous members of the band included Wolfgang Van Halen, who now is fronting his own project called Mammoth, who has 2 albums out under the name Mammoth. Fantastic multi-instrumentalist, Wolfgang Van Halen is. But I was just going to say this to you, Jim. I was surprised that after listening to this album, I was surprised that you brought this album to my attention because listening to this album, I really didn't think this was in your wheelhouse
Right,
in
right.
terms
And,
of
and
music. Yeah.
sure, yeah. And like as we were saying, all of the albums we're going to talk about today are just part of this exercise that I'm trying to put myself through, which is sort of expanding my narrow-mindedness of music. Um, you know, getting up there as I am, I tend to sort of keep a lot of my musical listening into the stuff that I grew up with. But I'm realizing that there is a lot of stuff that's coming out new and current that deserves some ear attention. And so as I've been listening through stuff and kind of talking about it on Twitter/X, um, this just seemed like a good opportunity to kind of share some of the gems that I've found Not all of them have been gems, that's for sure. But these are the ones, thus far in January that have really stood out. And, a lot of my finding this is just sort of based on looking at current release lists and saying, huh, well, here's someone I've never heard of. So I wonder what this is like. And that's how, I kind of discovered Tremonti. And once I listened to it, I kind of had a sense that this would be in your wheelhouse and just didn't know if you knew it at all. Um, so shall I take a swag at kind of describing what this album is like?
Please do.
Okay. So this is to me an album that exists in this very interesting neighborhood where on one corner you've got the band Aerosmith, on another corner you've got the band Kansas, and on a third corner of this neighborhood you've got the band Opeth. And that's kind of how a lot of this stuff hits me. I mean, it's almost prog metal. I mean, it's metal, and it's there's got a lot of proggy flourishes in it here and there. It's very very driving, very very up tempo. Semi complex stuff. But the thing that really drew me to it and surprised me is that it was melodic, which is why I kind of put Kansas and Aerosmith in there as well, because they've got some stuff going on with the vocal melodies and from a harmonic standpoint that kind of points to those bands. I mean, I was expecting to listen to this and I was preparing myself for the Cookie Monster growl vocals
Yeah.
and for it to all kind of talk about you know embrace death and Satan is your buddy and things like that, and it's just not that way. um
Mhm.
so there's it's one of the most intense listens
Yeah.
that I've had, but it's enjoyable because, like I said, the the melodicness of it really stands out.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Um, I do have some notes on the lead off track, and this is basically pretty much how it is for me. The lead off track on the album is "The Mother, the Earth, and I," which there is a video for it on that you can see on YouTube. And in terms of song structures, or sorry, not, well, t time lengths, most of the songs range in the 3 to 5 minute time length. But for the Earth, the Mother, and I have chunky rhythm guitars, thick guitar tone on leads, intricate drum patterns on this track, and clear vocal tone for Mark Tremonti. Now, um, whatever is going on musically, like the heaviness of the rhythm guitar, like the chunky rhythm guitars, etc., and the intricate arrangements, you can hear his vocals come in crystal clear, like cut through. They will cut through anything that is going on musically and over the top, right, and sit right on top where they belong. It is good for that.
Well produced. I mean, the
Yeah,
album
yeah,
sounds amazing.
yeah, and it was very well produced. Um, I mean, obviously, Mark Tremonti, sorry, has learned from being in Creed and Alter Bridge as to what he wants in a band and what he wants to project as a group. Um, my takeaway from the album, it's good. I would say, and forgive me for saying this, but I would say it's one note because you really
Hmm.
it doesn't really sort of um diverge from like the heavy rhythm guitars and the harmony guitars that come in on leads and stuff. It goes down a certain path and it doesn't go off into different avenues. Like it stays
Yeah.
course throughout the album kind of thing, which is okay.
Yep.
It's good, you know. Um, but if you want an album that is hard driving in terms of a lot of rhythm guitar, a lot of overdubs in terms of guitars, and basically is a hard driving rock album with melody and punch. This is the album for you, you know. And Napalm as a label are known for these kinds of releases, you know. Um, Pretty much it's those are the notes I have for Tremonti in terms of the end will show us how. He does have
Mhm.
a really good voice. Um, and I mean
Yeah, it's stuff that you can kind of sing along with, once you get used to it. I mean, from in my case, I would sing along with it poorly, but it still kind of
okay.
has that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, it's good. It's good. Um, I just, I guess would like a little bit more musical variety in terms of
Mhm.
the compositions, like of the arrangements. Maybe a little more acoustic guitar here and there. Just
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now that you say that, I totally can hear that sameness in my head as I sort of, speed through the tape of the album. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think
I guess the
if I
proper
were to give it a more critical view, yeah, I would say, yeah, I'd like a little more variety in timbre or tempo or arrangement or
I guess the proper phrase is it's atonal. Like it's just one kind of one way all the way. I'm not sure if that's the right way to use it, but
I think atonal is stuff that like doesn't have any like real
okay,
substantive
sorry.
musicality to it.
Sorry, screwed up that 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 description. But it's just one. It's like again, you're going down one musical avenue, and you're not sort of experimenting here and there. Like you're not um diverging. You're just you know you're staying in the one lane, and you're not trying anything different. So that's how I see it.
Yeah.
But of
Yeah.
course, I'm going to get blasted in the comments for that. But it is what it is, right? So.
You haven't even finished your first coffee, Armando. We'll give it a pass.
No, there you go. There you go. Thank you very much. Speaking of which, speaking of coffee, guys, the rest of the albums on the list, Jim did bring to me. We have five albums to talk about, and I will pass the virtual mic over to Jim to bring us this list, and I will have my sip of coffee. So take it away, Jim.
Yeah, and feel free to jump in because I think you've been able to like listen to maybe the first track of each of these
Yeah,
to kind of provide some commentary or
yeah,
or counterpoint if we get there. Um, but
definitely.
let's kind of start with something that's sort of in the same rock vein, and I'm going to use the term rock loosely here.
Yes.
Um, this is an album by a band called Krokofant, and this is
Okay.
their
Yeah.
sixth album, and it's called Six.
Yes.
Uh, this is a Norwegian trio that is guitar, sax, and drums, and um, their name comes from a mythical creature, I think, from children's literature that's something between like an elephant, a crocodile, and something. So Crocofant is where they get this name from. Um, if what I wanted to do with this episode is provide enough information to the viewing audience to say, okay, if this sounds, I wanted to kind of give a broad enough description for
You
folks to be able to say, okay, that's interesting, and we can kind of go from there. So this
you
isn't
wanted to
these aren't
whet their
in-depth
musical
reviews.
appetite. Sorry, you wanted to whet their musical appetite, just to sort of,
Yes,
yes, appease the palate.
exactly.
Okay.
hmm Okay, so for Crocofont, I think the best way for me to describe this album is like prog funk bebop. Um,
I get that.
it, it's not pop music, and it's some pretty tough jazz. Um,
Yeah.
but to me, in listening to this album, it's like a foot tapping, neck snapping, stank facing collection of just stuff that really, you know, it's hard to classify. It is very hard to classify. So let me describe just one of the tunes because I had the opportunity to do that.
I can't
It's a
believe
little
you
ditty
used
they
the,
call, what's that?
sorry, I can't believe you used the word stank.
Stank facing. you get a big stank face listening to some of the
Oh,
killer funk grooves on here.
I like that.
Um,
Go, go. Sorry.
so let's talk about a little ditty that they call Country Doom.
Jesus.
Uh,
Yeah.
Now it starts off with some pretty off-kilter funk drumming with some, kind of scratch guitar backing going on, and then there's a saxophone. It's taken the melodic lead, and the saxophone has some kind of processing to it, so it kind of sounds like two saxes playing a lot of
Mhm.
the time. And so you've got this off-kilter funk thing going on, and then once they move into a bridge, it kind of sounds like doom metal, but it doesn't like completely take it over. It's sort of like this doom metal overlay. So you've still got this off-kilter funk thing going on, but this bridge that starts happening, and then it goes into almost like some King Crimson-esque sax lines. I mean, just all over the place, and
Wow.
it's really kind of fun. Um, the third section of the track kind of settles into this really great groove of with some bopping guitar soloing going on. It's a
Mhm.
very clean, very angular guitar line, and it's some pretty razor sharp work going on here.
Yeah, they
I
are, sorry, they are fantastic instrumentalists. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
yeah. So if you like your jazz off kilter and you've got kind of a open-minded approach to prog, I think Krokofant might be something that you check out and enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Just to interject, I've listened to the first track of the album, and the one word that comes to mind is busy in terms of
Yeah.
what is going on in the music. They pack a punch,
Hmm.
and you don't know when you're going to get it in terms of it's going to come from the left or the right, above you, below you, under the chin, like an uppercut. But they pack a punch, and you need to be on your toes when you're listening to this album,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, you know. So
Sure. Yeah. I would say also that if you're a fan of Frank Zappa, John Zorn, Medeski, Martin, and Wood, this
yeah,
would probably be again in your wheelhouse.
hmm, definitely, definitely.
It's streaming all over the place. You know where to find these things. The album is six, as in the number six.
Yeah, and you can also listen to it on YouTube as well. Um,
Yep.
there you go.
Counting that amongst the places where streaming happens.
Yes, yes. All
Okay.
right, next.
So the next pair of albums, these are definitely jazz. And these are definitely jazz that is going to bring your blood pressure down. You are really going to be in relaxo mode with these two releases. Um, so I'm going to start. I'm going to, like I said, there's two, and I'm going to start with the one that I can easily pronounce. Um, the album is called Spindrift, and it's from Benjamin Lacker.
That's right.
It's on ECM Records, so that'll give you just, if you know ECM, you
Yeah,
know the vibe that's
yeah.
going
Early,
on here.
early Pat Metheny, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Um, and this is piano, bass, drums, trumpet, and sax. So that's the quintet going on here. Um, I was really caught up in this record. And in kind of listening to it off and on, I try to put together a bunch of, you know, adjectives kind of described it. It's alluring, it's beckoning, it's contemplative, it's got a very drifting quality to it. And yes, these are words with a D this time. Um, it's engaging, felicitous. Look it up; it's a real word. Gentle. I mean, to me, it's
I would also add seductive because
very much so.
it lures you in.
Yeah,
It
very much
lures
so.
you
And
in.
and it's
Right.
and, and it's a warm and inviting and comforting record.
That's a yeah.
Yeah, this is not bitches brew. This is
Oh, hell
very
no.
much if just kind of extend the Miles analogy, this is definitely more kind of blue territory, but still not kind of blue as its own, Mount Olympus of
Yeah.
amazingness. But again, if you get the ECM ethos and can sort of have an idea of the instrumental breakdown that I talked about, and with the adjectives that Armando and I use, should give you a pretty good idea of what to expect going in here. Um, Lackner is the pianist, but this is not a piano record that's augmented by everything else. I mean, this is really a collective, and it's hard to kind of tell, who the leader is here. Is it the bassist, the trumpetist, the trumpeter, excuse me. It's so
It is.
it's
Yeah.
it,
Sorry.
even I hadn't had enough coffee yet.
It's okay.
Um,
Okay. I'll have this
but
done.
yeah, Benjamin Lackner is the artist. Spindrift is the album, and it is a real delight. Again, comforting, warm,
It is.
seductive, I believe you said, Armando.
Seductive. Yeah, that's the only way I can describe it because ladies and gentlemen, you're lured into it.
Hmm.
It's almost like it's almost like walking by a door that's open to a room and there's music playing, and this music will draw you into the room.
That's a great description. Yeah,
Like
very accurate.
you want to hear more. And seductive is the only way I can describe it, is because I had it on this morning. I was playing with the pups, uh, getting ready for the day, and Nina's giving daddy kisses, etc. And I hear this playing, and I turned around, and she's looking at me, like I was drawn away from the pups. So that's how it is. Like it kind of pulls you in. Um,
Hmm.
it's good. It is good. Yes, and I will be uh, diving into this album some more. Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, so let's see then how if your opinion is the same for this next release in the jazz section.
Yes.
Apologies to people of the Nordic persuasion, because I bet you that I'm going to butcher the heck out of this. The artist's name, you are going to flash the album
Of course.
artwork up here, right? Okay,
I have it
so
ready to
that'll get me
go.
covered.
I have it ready to go.
So let's call it the artist Gulli Gudmundson. And the Yes,
Go ahead. No, I do believe it's pronounced Yuli Edmondson.
Yuli. Okay, thank you. See, that's why we do so well together. Um,
We're a match. We get along
there
so
we
well.
go.
All right.
Okay, the album title. And again, correct me. You know what, Armando? What is the album title?
I couldn't pronounce it.
Okay, fair enough. Let's just call it Flo og Fjara.
Good enough.
And again, it's available on YouTube. It's available on Spotify. This is
Yeah.
a stunningly beautiful album. Uh, I don't recall if I mentioned it, but it's piano, bass, and trumpet with some minor electronics going on behind
Yeah.
it, just to
And
kind of augment or enhance.
yeah, and Yuli is a bass player,
Hmm.
from what I've read.
Yep.
Thank you, Discogs, for the
Yeah.
so yes, yes. No, he plays bass on that.
And this is a whole album. I was just immediately enchanted
I
by it.
can see how you
Graceful
would.
melodies. It's like Spindrift. It is a very warm embrace of your soul. And as sort of um, blood pressure lowering as Spindrift is, the album from Yuli kind of takes it down another couple of notches. It's some beautiful and engrossing stuff. This was, I haven't done it yet, but it's almost insta buy time on this one.
You say I'm bad for buying CDs. Well, I am, but we won't go there. No, I understand
You've
why.
taken that crown, Armando. Come on, it's not a competition, but you've taken that crown.
Yes, I'm the prom queen. Go ahead.
No, that's it. So between the Benjamin Lackner album and the Yuli album here, again, both 2025 releases, and they're just beautiful, warm, seductive, comforting. This is not road trip music.
No.
This is definitely wind down or like Sunday morning music.
I've always said for certain albums about putting an album on and relaxing and just letting it take you away. These two albums from Uli Gudmundson and uh, Benjamin Lacker, is it?
Lackner, yeah.
Lackner, sorry. Benjamin Lackner and Uli Gudmundson. These albums are the type where you can sit back, relax, and let the albums take you on a journey. Uh,
Yep.
and wherever you're going to end up, you're going to end up. And but the thing is, you don't care because you're just so wrapped up in the music that you'll let it take you away. And
Oh, this is definitely the journey is the reward kind of album.
that's exactly it. And you want, and you'll like it so much that you'll want to repeat it at the end. You'll want to
Oh, yeah.
hit the play button again on the CD player. So I get that. And yes, CD players, I'm of the old school. So yes, no, that's fantastic. These are good albums. These are good
Yeah,
albums. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you like them.
I can see why you were drawn in. I
Oh
really,
yeah, it
I,
was just instant.
yeah, I can see why you were, but we must carry on, ladies and gentlemen.
We do, and we have one more category to go. This is the singer-songwriter category, and the two other albums in here. The first one is from a woman who I had never heard of before. Her name is Sophie Jamieson, and it's called "I Still Want to Share."
Mhm.
Um, Now, this is a very warm but very raw record. It's almost um, exclusively guitar. There's some, little color added in the background, but this could definitely be kind of a coffee house album. In fact, in looking at her website and looking at some of the tour dates that she has, it seems like there's a lot of coffee houses that she's playing in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
No North American dates that I saw, but this is a very the songs. Let's see. The songs kind of have this lane that they stay in, but within this lane, they kind of go all over the place. So think of it as like really bad bowling, where, the ball just kind of goes all over the place. So there are songs that are very intimate, and then there are songs that are very sweeping, but still, it's not like this sweeping, like Moody Blues, Days of Future Past, orchestral
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I get it. I got it.
Yeah, there's to me these songs again alternately they are dramatic, but then there's also kind of like winsome in some ways, they'll have a very adult, deep emotional resonance quality, and then kind of childlike in other ways, and it's really really well done. Just kind of talking about it says, dang, I want to go back and listen to this more because I feel like I'm not clearly articulating, what Sophie put out there. But this is, like you talked before about the other jazz albums where you're like, walking down the street and it's an open door and your ear is caught and you want to go in, you're kind of seduced by the sound. I think Sophie's record is very much like that, but in a singer-songwriter vein.
Yeah. You're describing it very well. Like quite, not quite accurately. I do need more.
Easy for you to say,
Yes,
mister.
I know. Jesus Christ. Um, I would say yes. You are describing the album quite accurately. If I was to get, because we always try and compare or give, a point of reference. Uh, as an example, I would give her, I would use Joni Mitchell
Hmm.
as a point of reference in terms of the, singer-songwriter label. Not so much, not Joni Mitchell, Hygera or Don Juan
Right.
Zappa's daughter, or
I'm
Ming.
thinking like For the Roses,
I'm
Joni.
thinking For the Roses, Ladies of the Canyon, you know, that kind of thing, around that
Yeah.
time frame. 72, 71, 72, around that time frame. Blue, blue, very much blue. Yes. Blue.
Yes.
Perfect blue. That's it. That would be the point of reference I would use uh,
Hmm.
in terms of this album. Very well done, beautifully recorded, from what I can tell.
Hmm.
This is just on the first listen. It's enough that I want to go back and hear more of what she has. So I get that very much so. I get that.
All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
very much
So
so.
that leads us to, unless, is there anything else you want to say about that, Armando?
No, I think I've shot my mouth off enough. I think I'm good.
Right. All right. Let's go to the last one then. This is an album, a woman named Tamara Lindemann, who, as a recording artist, goes by the name The Weather Station. Now, The Weather Station, I have heard a couple of the previous albums that she has done, and they were really, really good. And this one did not disappoint at all. So for the for the point of reference, I came up with kind of three of them, and they're all kind of got these question marks after them because they seem incongruent, but maybe they're accurate. So, like Kate Bush meets Thelonious Monk,
Okay.
uh, Fairport Convention meets Radiohead,
Oh Lord. Okay.
and then to draw back to the last one, Joni Mitchell meets David Byrne.
Got it. I got it. Every
Um,
single reference point. I got it.
yeah, this is a the album has a sweep that is not unlike the one from Hounds of Love. It has so much stuff happening with instrumentation and musical color, timbre, that it kind of feels like Radiohead, where you never know what you're going to get on the next track. Um, the piano is pretty prominent here, and because she's doing stuff that's not um, you know traditional pop radio Taylor Swift. That's where kind of the Thelonious Monk and Joni Mitchell references come in. Sorry, I said Taylor Swift.
Sorry.
Didn't mean to make you choke on your coffee. Yeah,
Caught in my throat there. Excuse me.
exactly.
Hairball.
Um,
Go on.
this album is just outstanding. It's got a on the same hand, you've got an album that's very vulnerable, but very, very assured as well. Um, you know, confident, but yet there's risk taking in here. It's almost kind of feels like Tamara is someone who has sort of mastered the genre. And once they've mastered it, they're now free to kind of go out and play with form and function because there's such a deep understanding of how to make good music that she's kind of saying, all right, now let's see what we can do. And um, from what I recall,
Okay.
although the previous Weather Station album was good, this one is kind of heads and shoulders above it. And I'm not saying it's like Hounds of Love level of masterpiece perfection, but it's that's the closest analog that I could kind of come up with. And with the three other question mark points of reference that I tried to give earlier,
No, that's fine. That's
if
fine.
that kind of stuff appeals to you, I think Weather Station is going to be the album to beat of the first part of the year.
Okay. Well, I heard a couple of songs. I mean, the first track is a 1 minute instrumental introduction to the album,
Hmm.
which I liked. And I need to listen to it more to give more of an analysis, an opinion of it. But your descriptions are quite on point.
Okay then.
So there you go. No, um, I find it interesting that you used Hounds of Love as a another point of reference, which is fine. I mean, that's what you hear. That's the thing about music. We hear it differently. Everybody
Hmm.
hears things differently. So no, that's fine. And
And maybe Kate's Hounds of Love is not the perfect analogy. Another name that
well, I
just
would
came to
say it
mind.
is. I would say it is.
Okay,
I would say it is.
okay.
No,
I know of the music of Joanna Newsom, and she has an album called Verses that a lot of people just fall over themselves praising. So this might be closer to that, but I'm not familiar enough with that to be able to kind of say, oh yeah, if you like that, you'll like this. So again,
the thing is, a lot of these quote unquote lesser known albums,
hmm,
just because they're not as well known as, say, Jagged Little Pill,
yep,
it doesn't give them any less validity in terms of their musical approach or the musical statement they want to make. Um,
right.
I mean, a lot of this the secret of the success of the albums that quote unquote make it is yes, the music is there. That's number one. Number two is the push from the record company that's given to said album, the
Mhm.
promotion. But I would also say that luck has a great deal to do with it as well, because you can have a
Sure.
great album, but you don't know whether it's going to sell or not. So it's all relative. I mean, and again, just because an album is not on a major label doesn't mean that it's not good. I mean, it just has to do with the circumstances of the situation. So
Hmm.
these albums that you're presenting, these five albums that you brilliantly presented, they're great. These are great albums. They have their own musical validity. There's enough
Yeah.
here. I want to look into them some more. I'm not going to buy them just yet because I just can't do it just yet. I just can't do it. No, no, no. It isn't going to happen just yet. I have a Yes album to purchase. Never mind. But no, I mean, you presented albums to me that I want to listen to some more.
Well, that's great, and
You know,
I really couldn't ask for anything else. Again, the whole idea here is that I'm kind of on my own journey of musical perspective broadening, just so I can understand more of what's happening here and now
yeah,
in music, as opposed to living vicariously through everything I loved in college, which I
yeah,
still love.
yeah.
But
And
it's
no, no, no. I was just gonna say, I mean, you as a music listener can bring an album to someone and say, "Oh, you've got to hear this. This is so great." And the other person can listen to it and like, "Okay, it's all right." Meh. That
Yeah,
kind
and
of
we've had examples of that between the two of us.
exactly. And you're like,
Yeah,
and you're probably thinking, when the person comes back with that kind of a response, you're thinking, "Are you crazy? Like, what are you
yeah.
not getting?
Can't you see this?
Like
Can't you
this is
see how freaking awesome this
brilliant." I
is?
mean, case in point. I mean, um,
Go ahead,
I was
do
going to
it.
say the Tea Party, right? And
Mhm.
this is going to tie back into Tremonti at the top of the show that we started 10 years ago. Now, with the Tea Party, what I like about the band is their musical approach, uh, their innovative approach to
Mhm.
recording. The fact that they use um, the East Indian or Arabic instrumentation and ideas. Yes, they took it from Led Zeppelin. I understand that. It is what it is. But I mean, I could present to you, say, Transmission, which is their third release, and you'll come back to me and say, it's all right. It's one note all the way through. Um, Case in point with Tremonti. Uh,
Mhm.
one could say you listen to that to the end will show us how and say, okay, well, it's just one note all the way through. There's no innovation, there's no imagination, there's no diversity in the music. And then
Mhm.
someone could listen to, say, the Tea Party and say that it's the same thing with them, that there's no that they always do the same thing, which fine, that's your opinion. That's your
Mhm.
opinion. But, you know, music is music. It hits us differently on different levels. It's a personal thing. Just because um how can I put this? Just because an album that I may love and that you may think is okay doesn't give it any less musical validity. Do you know what I mean?
Right. It's all subjective.
It's all subjective and it's all, every, everyone has a right to their opinion as to what they like and what they don't want to listen to anymore. So, yeah, I mean, I almost forgot my train of thought there. The thing is that with music, there are no right or wrong answers about something. It's
Right.
just opinion. And that's what we try to bring to people. It's just to, okay, this is what we're listening to. This is what we like. Maybe you'll like it as well. Give this a shot. If not, then fine, but just give it a shot.
The
Um,
other thing about the music market is, and I think we talked about this on different episodes, is that there's just so much out there.
yeah,
It's really hard to kind of cut through just the cut through the haystack, if you will, to find these golden needles
yeah,
that are in there.
yeah. No, exactly. I mean, again, everybody has an opinion and everyone has a right to their opinion. And uh, my final thought is music is limitless. There's no limits as to the music that's out there and what you can listen to and what you can like. It doesn't mean that you can like an ABBA album and you can like you know uh,
Black MIDI.
okay, Black MIDI. Talk about opposite ends of the
It's
spectrum.
limitless.
It's
I was going
limitless.
with the limitless
I was
metaphor.
going to go with Pat Metheny, but fine. You can like ABBA and you can like Black MIDI. You can like Pat Metheny. There's no
Yep.
limits to what you can listen to or what you should listen to. Okay. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, our one and only episode so far of Now Hear This. We have presented to you six albums that pretty much goes across the musical spectrum. Okay, from Tremonti to um, I forgot the names are escaping me right now. Any of the other albums on this list that we're bringing to you. So please check them out. You can stream any of these albums either on YouTube or on any of the music services, Amazon Music, etc. Please, once you have checked them out, please let us know what you think of gonna call an audible or what?
No, I have a question when you're done. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, guys, so much for the outro. Guys, enjoy these albums. They are fantastic. And let us know again in the comments what you think of said releases. Okay.
Were you going to put in the notes below the links to the albums?
Yes, I will put the links to the releases below in the description so you'll know where to access these albums quite easily. All right. So again, we are not experts on music on this channel. We're just bringing to you different music topics and different artists that we like and we think that you might like. So you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And what do you have to lose? Nothing. Not a dang.
Um, Maybe you'll gain something from that time.
Nothing to lose, everything in the world to gain.
There we go.
That's pretty much it. So that brings us to the end of this very confusing episode of Now Hear This. Again, for Jim Brecker, I'm Armando Venditti signing off. Please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. We've got more show ideas that we're putting together and that we're going to bring to you as quickly as possible. We have coming up our top five albums of Miles Davis. Uh, that's going to be a show with Jim, Ken, and yes, Mr. Bill Schuster. He's coming in on this. So
Billy.
it's going to be a marathon episode for the top five albums of uh, Miles Davis. So that's coming up, and we've got other ideas that we're working on. So please stay tuned for that. And we'll see you soon. Please look after yourselves and one another. And we'll see you soon with more shows. Bye for now.